because let me provide sort of a anecdote here. I am always surprised and depressed by the fact that now in France, in French zone, but I think it's worldly, the word, the qualificative, the word surrealist, which in fact is the name of the last great movement in the arts from this world, means nonsense, stupidity, falsehood. Every time a political man says something at the TV, the commentator Jean said it's absolutely surrealist. Mr. Ratafin said something. No, and I'm afraid it's a catastrophe because so the doxa, the use of the word, c'est surrealist means now it's nothing. So referring in the tradition of when poetry is assimilated to an illusion or the decorative, passe-temps, and so on. And I say the catastrophe. Donc, and if I make a connection with the Heideggerian, as you me tendite la perche, I could say something like that. In the beginning of the famous Vom Wesen der Wahrheit, one finds the disqualification of the judgment as adéquation, well, the judgment of the thing, the intellectus one part, the rest the other part, for the privilege of the revelation, the truth aléthéique, revelation, the truth of revelation. So I think as a program, of course, that now, according to what Francis Ponge was, when I quoted Francis Ponge, we have to renew the connection between the truth, what one could call the truth of revelation, vérité de révélation, and the truth in judgment. I owe you the truth in painting, said Cézanne. In poetry, said Francis Ponge. Third point, the problem of translatio studiorum. How to transform, to change, to metamorphose, si on dit le verbe métamorphose. That, what is to be conserved, how to transmit, that is worth being transformed. I tried to formulate this difficulty with expressions such as, excuse me because it's, I didn't find the good word. I say it in French, my formula is comment ineffacer le devenu incroyable. How to render non-erasable, maybe non-deletable. I don't know if one could forge in English ineffacer, effacer et ineffacer. How to render non-erasable the becoming incredible. And the proposition is a good convenient for, at the same time for, let's say, Aphrodite, when Twombly writes in the canvas Aphrodite. It's a sort of a last graffiti, a last ineffacement of this goddess in which today, I suppose, no one believes anymore. A willing suspension of belief. And also it's good for the task. Let me evoke the previous Claude Lanzmann visit here, with his Shoah, because in a way a work like Shoah is answer to the question, comment ineffacer le devenu incroyable. So if a catastrophe happens, or even not a catastrophe, but any kind of accident, c'est incroyable. One cannot, it's unbelievable. So you have to render not deletable the becoming incredible. Or in other words, after having made profanation out of revelation, story of art, how to make some revelations or a kind of revelation out of profanations. Problem, I call it in this book, Un homme de peu de foi, problem of the relics, if you want, relics. I don't know if it's a good word for relique, in the, or what remains, remainder. The relics being, of course, in language and literature, consisting in words, phrases, works. The price to pay for this ineffacé is the profanation. Well, let's take, for instance, a poem like the one of Baudelaire called Élévation. Alors, it's a Christian name. It's what I call a relique. So the poet is trying, it takes the élévation, which was a sense in there. So maybe, in fact, it's the general problem of the sense, in the sense of Jean-Luc Nancy, the sense. Take a word like elevation and a thing, and a religious relic like élévation, and being absolutely agnostic, he entitled it Élévation, on the same with, let's take virginité for Mallarme. What is the meaning of virginité? One is not forced at all to believe in the virginity in a sense of non-scientific sense, I don't know. But we have, the proposition is we have to give sense, another sense, translation, a new sense, at these relics, even at a difficult thought like resurrection. 4 points. It leads to the matter of, it leads for me, of course, to the matter of sublime. The sublime, since Longinus periupsus, is the matter of legacy, testament, testimonial. In modern terms, of testifying, witnessing, or of the work of art as a promise. On dit promise, promise of promised land, for instance, given to the next generation in an enigma, a riddle, a fable, which could, maybe should or must lure, which has to be, or in order that is to be interpreted. So we have the connection heuristic, hermeneutic. The gesture of transmitting a deceiving promise is the one of the parabolic, which launches, and I take the parabole here and a few minutes later, in both sense of the section conique, la parabole, quoi, le jet, the parabole, and of course in the sense of a fable, parabole, and especially in the sense of the evangile, the parabolic, which launches, throws something for the survivors beyond the death. Word of the end, les mots de la fin, the sublime last word of the dying. I observed reading and translating the Periupsus of that each example, all the examples were the dernière parole, the parole you pronounce in the catastrophe, when everything so up as a transmission of a parabolic transmission for the survivor, as a promise, an alluring promise, which has to be interpreted. But some words more about the modern sublime, experience of sublime in things and in artifacts, because our task could be said, it seems to me always, as the task or the duty to invent sublime paradoxes. The proposition about the modern sublime as a daily sublime, a day-by-day sublimity, from this position I could entitle above the volcano and not under the volcano,